Another production of the International Prolife Federation, which is a not-for-profit, non-governmental organization and part of the Committee for a Better Chicago. I'm your host this morning, or this afternoon, or this evening, whenever this program shows. I'm Bill Doc Walls, the director of the Committee for a Better Chicago. And we're here to say that we too care. This is a program to talk about injustice, inhumanity, man's inhumanity towards man, and the senseless murders and senseless crimes that are proliferating throughout the city of Chicago at a time when we should be focusing on coming together and putting family first and familying up, bringing people together who are of like mind, like responsibility, and of like purpose. Our guests today are Reverend Overstreet, who is a phenomenal minister in the city of Chicago. His ministry is one of those that can't even be described with words, but he's also part of the Peacemakers Alliance. We also have the director of the International Prolife Federation, Miss Ernestine Standberry. She's a mainstay in Chicago, an unsung heroine, someone who has for many years put her life and credibility on the line to make a difference for our children and our children's children. And we're here to talk to you today about some subjects that are pretty much in the news. And these are issues that affect us all. As a matter of fact, we wish they didn't, but they do. But the good news is, and this is what I want all of you to remember, no matter what the circumstances, we shall prevail as a people. So we don't want anybody to get this feeling of, oh, here we go again, talking about the hopelessness and helplessness of a people, because African Americans in the city of Chicago have struggled for so long with so little that we're now qualified to do everything with absolutely nothing.
That's good.
Ernestine, your brother is incarcerated.
Yes.
And he's been mistreated. You want to explain to the public what's going on?
On Monday, October 27, I was with the Rainbow Push Coalition, Jesse Jackson's son. We were down there with the Burgess situation. There were some people who were there who had injustice insofar as people that they know incarcerated. My brother, Ernestine Standberry Jr., this happened in Indianapolis, Indiana in October 1994. My brother was given 95 years for yes-no rape and sent to Michigan City State Penitentiary. In the lineup, 6 or 7 white girls stated that he was not the rapist. One girl who was going with him and lived in the same building as he and his Caucasian wife, Cheryl Standberry, gave a yes-no in regards to rape. And he admitted to forcing her or raping her. They said rape, he admitted, yeah, I did it, like that. And they ended up, he have no DNA. He was 23 years old. He is a honored Marine. He has 2 degrees, one in industrial management. You know, in other words, right now what he's doing for Michigan City State Penitentiary is their accounting. And they'll never let him out. You know what I'm saying?
He's too valuable inside.
And he got 1 in theology. He's an imam now. He was a Catholic, but he's an imam now. I went to the Ramadan festival, me and my oldest son, Augustine. So we have a picture of that. If you could show the picture of us at the Ramadan festival. That's me and Augustine and Skip. He's known as Raheem Shakur now, but Imam Abdul Rahim, I call him Skip. I still call him Skip. The Innocent Project in New York has been contacted, and just so happened on Tuesday, they said that they were reviewing his case because one of the qualifications with the Innocent Project is that you have to have no DNA. You know what I'm saying? So that's...
Well, Ernestine, our prayers are with you and your family. You know, one of the things that we constantly fight for is to relieve families where people are unjustly or inhumanely incarcerated. There's a such thing as people doing the time, for the crime. But there's also a thing that proliferates throughout our community where people are unjustly incarcerated for inordinate periods of time. The punishment ought to fit the crime, and if he didn't do it, he shouldn't be locked up in prison. He's separated from his wife. He's
And
separated
you studied
from
law
children.
because you went to Kent Law
I'm a
School.
graduate of Chicago Kent College of Law,
And
22
so
years
now,
ago.
how could they justifiably keep him so long in there? It's 17 years with no DNA.
There's really no justification for it. And the bottom line is our penal system is broken. African Americans do not get a fair shake. People oftentimes lock them up and throw away the key, and that's not rehabilitation. That's not what justice is all about, especially if it wasn't proven that he actually committed that crime, and if people stood up and said, no, it wasn't him.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate, it's unfair. Reverend Overstreet,
Yes.
how have you been since the last time we did a show like this?
It's good to be here, Doc. Good to see you again also, Ernestine, for inviting me out again. And
Thank you.
I'm always glad to come and sit and talk about the violence in our communities, but I like what you said at the top of the show. We're not here to talk about the pitiful situation that the African American is in, or we're in this stage of the game. As we can see in the news today, we are making great and wonderful strides towards being great and marvelous people. I've been in the community, still in the Inglewood community where my church is located, Rejected Stone, 1053 West 59th Street, where on Tuesdays we're getting out in the neighborhood. We're actually going to what is called hot spots, where there's gathering of youth or young people, or where well-known drug activity is going on, gang activity is going on, but we see it as a time to be able to educate.
It's an opportunity.
It's an opportunity. I mean, a lot of times we know that our youth are going to be gathered together, and a lot of times it's innocent. It's not due to activity that is unlawful. And so what we're going out with our Bibles in hand and with our instruments of praise, and we're going out and we're just telling them that there's another way, that someone loves you, and that, no matter what the television, the news media, and the government is saying about you, that we know your story, and we're here to try to help you in any way we can. So in Inglewood community, we are doing some wonderful things, but it takes more than just a few. If we really plan to make some decisive strides in the Inglewood district, we need all the help we can get, Doc, and being able to come on the show and just and talk about some of the issues it would be very vital to to continuing what the Peace Alliance is all about.
Absolutely. And one of the things that we have to do is begin to uplift our people economically.
Yes.
We have to fight for economic justice right here in the city of Chicago. We cannot tolerate the city of Chicago having an affirmative action program that does not deliver the opportunity for African Americans to truly get involved and to reap the benefit of their tax dollars.
Yes.
Everyone else does. We ought to also, but it doesn't happen without a demand, because in this uniquely well-ordered, well-structured society, things don't just happen by chance.
That's right.
Things don't evolve and develop in a vacuum. Things happen by design.
That's right.
Things happen when people with a plan act purposefully. So we have to begin to act purposefully in the city of Chicago and demand these things so that we can also leave an inheritance for our children and our children's children.
Really?
Amen.
Young children are being gunned down in the streets. We understand that, but let's focus on some of those young children who have promise. And let's figure out how we're going to empower their parents so that they can send them to college, so they can fulfill their destiny
Yes.
and reach back and help another generation of people, because we stand to be the only generation of people who will leave less to our children than was left to us. We got work to do, Ernestine.
Yes, we do.
Yes.
Yes, we do.
We got work
We
to
got
do.
work to do because, see, for one thing, we got to get Mandela out of office. For one thing, because now he was state's attorney, the Burge was in, and now I was with the Iraqi Peach Players, and I'm all for Abu Ghraib and all like that, and I marched with them, and I'm with the World Can't Wait. But it's the same torture that they're doing with these people that was in the Iraqi war and stuff, you know?
Yeah.
And Daley was the state's attorney. Okay, so the best change for Chicago would be another mayor, because insofar as the way I see it, a lot of the poor people are already driven out of the city. And you're not doing enough for low-income people. I know from Deborah's place, I hear that they even have it's a police penitentiary area where the people that were moved out of the Cabrini Greens and everything, they give them vouchers to go live in the penitentiary. They made it out of a shelter, living quarters. You want to end homelessness in 10 years. And he's with that big program, that nationwide program where you want to end homelessness in 10 years.
He hasn't put a dent in ending homelessness
what
in
you're
the
going
city
to
of
end
Chicago.
up doing is you're making it so we're getting a lot of blue-collar workers and blue bloods, a lot of blue bloods coming. In other words, white-collar people are moving. You can see them coming through, all through here. Specifically, like we have in Cobra meetings in Washington Park, and the condominiums that they build. Okay, a lot of them moving right in this areas and stuff, And it's nothing wrong with the white people moving in these areas and different things, but where are the low-income people going?
That's right, and as we focus on that, we have to remember that that's what economic empowerment is all about.
Yes.
It's about people being able to maintain their stability and continue to live in their communities. Home is more than just a place where you lay your head at night
That's right.
and go to sleep. It's the place that's close to work, close to grandmama's house, close to the church that you attend, a familiar surrounding. So we can't continue to displace people in the city of Chicago and call ourselves humane. John Burge should not ever receive bail. He should never have received bail.
Yes.
He should have been locked up and should have been made to
Relinquish his passport.
That's right, relinquish his passport so he couldn't sneak out of this country.
Amen.
And I would hope that they keep a close and careful eye on him and don't allow this man to slip away, because he has information, and part of that information might lead to Mayor Daley being held accountable for his role in the whole thing.
This is why I feel like they're gonna, some kind of way, this man here, even though they got him in now, some kind of way something's gonna happen. I feel that they're gonna drop charges.
Or something.
Because Daley was state's attorney. This is what I told Tony Baraka, and I voted for Tony Baraka because I believe he's sincere about he's a state's attorney,
Well, I understand, yeah, and you have an alternative. One of the things that I did during that election is I made it clear to people that, yes, vote for Barack Obama, but do not vote for Anita Alvarez, because Anita Alvarez was part and parcel of the problem. Yes, she was in that office for 22 years and never encouraged her co-workers to step up.
Jay Crane on the office of Howard
That's
Morgan
right.
said no for him.
Yeah.
Because they really want to convict Officer Howard Morgan. I feel like this here, and I guess I just pester them so much, and Minister Roz is out of town now. She couldn't make it, and Officer Morgan is sick. And because see, I figure like this here. If my brother, who was innocent, been in 17 years, and it was just a rape thing, of course, that was in Indiana.
Sure.
By him being licensed to have a gun and had a gun on him, even though he was already he went to the academy, he was a Burlington police, Burlington, he worked for the Burlington Railroad. The way they're doing him, and he's already got 3 acquittals, then you're trying to go to the appellate court to see if you can get an appellate court case. And
let's be clear. We're talking about Howard Morgan right now.
Yes, Howard Morgan. They're really trying to give him some kind of time, I believe.
He was shot 18 times in the back.
28.
28
20
times, or 18
altogether.
times in the back
Right.
by police officers, and he still doesn't have justice. So
Right.
there is this man's inhumanity towards man, this lack of justice in this system, and those are the things that we have to address. It doesn't matter who the president of the United States is, we
Exactly.
still have
Really,
issues that
really,
we have to
really,
deal with
really.
on a local level. And that's your responsibility. I'm talking now to our viewing audience. It's your responsibility to demand these things of a system that you feed. This government is based upon the fines and fees and taxes that you pay. That's why the government is able to do what it does. They have your permission to manage you and manage your life. But at the same time, you have the right to make them accountable for the things that they do. All of us. None of us can abdicate that responsibility. You can't just walk away
right.
from this thing and think that it's somebody else's problem.
Exactly.
And Pastor Overstreet, I love the fact that you guys get out there and talk to young people and try to make a difference in their lives early on.
Well, you know, Doc, the one thing I've noticed is that that we're not educating our youth. As you know, when we were young, whether we had a father figure in the home or not, there was still Mr. Johnson down at the barber shop, Mr.
Yes.
Williams at the grocery
Support
store.
system.
There was still that support system in the neighborhood that still directed us, even when they hung out. The older men hung out on the corners and things like that. They discouraged the younger men from doing it.
That's right.
What's going on now, Doc, is that with the Peacemakers Alliance, I'm partnering with my bishop out in Schaumburg, Bishop Keith Russell Lee, and what we're